Hey there, folks. I'm just going to give you guys a quick overview on this particular build that I just did since I've gotten a few requests about it. Anyway, don't mind the dirty couch. I'm in my office. I really don't care. I use this couch as a desk a lot of the time, so just bear with me. But anyway, yeah, this is a 12-inch 6.5, or 6.5, 12-inch 6.5 Grendel build. Um, I actually built it primarily just to kind of play with the 6.5 Grendel, just to kind of get into the platform. I've been interested in the cartridge for years. I heard great things about it, so this is kind of like my jump off point. It's my introduction to the cartridge. Um, anyway, about the build. To start off, I'll just go muzzle to butt, I guess. I actually used a LaRue Tranquilo muzzle brake adapter. Use this specifically because I'm planning on getting the Tranquilo suppressor a few months from now. You know, got to go through tax stamps and waiting periods and all that, but this is just to get me started. So I went ahead and got this. I like it. It's pretty nice. Used a barrel from 6.5 Arms. This is one of their monster branded barrels. It's a 12-inch barrel. I believe it's a 1 and 7.5 twist. It's a carbine gassing or a carbine linked gas. And I actually used a Viltor clamp-on gas block. Ask me why I use clamp-on, first of all. This is the second time I've used the clamp-on block. Never had any problems with it. Actually kind of like them just for their ease and assembly. Plus, I kind of wanted to leave things open with this build. Normally, I would, just use a set screw block and then dimple the barrel or, pin it into place later on if I feel like it. But with this one, I went with a clamp-on block just because I'm actually considering going piston in the future. So I didn't want to, do anything to the barrel just yet because this gas block, it might be coming off in the future. So I just wanted something that I could kind of, run for now and, just play with it in the meantime. But, it's Viltor. They make good stuff. With these clamp-on blocks, I've actually never had a problem with them. I kind of like them because I do believe they offer a better seal than one that uses set screws. But, as long as you Loctite these little screws down here, and you torque it to spec, like the manufacturer calls for, you'll never have problems with it. They go on easier, they come off easier. That's what I like about them. Use the Spikes Tactical Melanited gas tube, but who cares about that? Use one of these Geisley Mark 8 rails. It's the first time actually using a Geisley Handguard. This is the 9.5-inch variant, the Desert Dirt color. It's cool. It's legit. Locks up tight as shit. It's got a nice little color. As you can see, it's not quite FDE. It's a little darker, I guess. A little shinier. It kind of reminds me a little more of a burnt bronze color than a FDE, but it's pretty cool. It's legit. One thing I would say, if you're trying to emulate this build that I did, I actually used the Odinworks billet upper receiver. Just FYI, these Geisley rails are meant to work with mil-spec uppers. If you use any sort of billet upper, these little tabs right here, little locking tabs, there's a set screw right there. They actually lock your handguard onto the upper receiver, so it snugs up real tight. If you actually use any type of billet receiver, or at least this one in particular, you might have to take a quick swipe with the Dremel on both sides of these locking tabs because there's actually a little too much material on the handguard to slide over this point on the receiver. So I specifically just had to take off maybe a couple thousandths of an inch with the Dremel. I mean, literally just a quick swipe. Just took off enough material till it slid on, and it is nice and tight. It is so snug. It's not going anywhere. Lockup uses the 2 screws, which runs through the barrel nut. I don't know if you guys can see, but there's actually 2 grooves in the barrel nut that the screws run through, so they literally lock up against the barrel nut. And this is probably one of the best, if not the best handguards I've ever handled. They're really nice. Anyway, Odinworks billet upper. This one does not have a forward assist. I think it looks great without the forward assist, and I will probably be using upper receivers that do not utilize a forward assist in the future because I just think they look better. Forward assist is kind of useless to me. Anyway, Strike Industries dust cover. It's just, I guess they call it their enhanced dust cover. It's cool. Went with the Strike Industries magazine release button. Just flipping it over here on the other side. This is their Ambi release. It's actually really nice for the money. It's like 30 something bucks, I think, but it works great. Honestly, I've used some of the more high end, Ambi mag releases like the Norgan, the Troy. They're cool, you know, but this thing works just as well. It feels better and it actually releases better. It's just a little smoother. Mags drop freely. It does what it's supposed to. No issues with it. We went with a Faxon bolt carrier group, 6.5 Grendel, of course. This is the Type 2 head spacing. I went with Faxon just because I've had good success with them in the past. They use pretty beefy components, 9310 bolt super finish carrier. I believe they use a S7 tool steel extractor. So it's got, a few minor upgrades over your mil spec stuff, even some of your higher end stuff, like BCM, Daniel Defense. Faxon actually uses some higher quality metals. Some of you guys might not agree with that, but at least specs on paper, it looks better. So I went with them. We got a Strike Industries flip switch. It's a 60 or 90 degree throw. I got it set for the 60. It is ambi. As you can see, it's got a different shape from what, most safety switches look like. It's got the ugly little SI logo on it, but it works great. I like it. Like the way it feels, like the way it looks. Also use Strike Industries takedown and pivot pins. They have an interesting shape to them. I mean, they work. They do what they're supposed to. Look nice, I guess. We went with a LaRue MBT flat face trigger. This is the 2-stage variant. Had great success with these triggers in the past. They work great for the money. Honestly, I don't know if there's a better deal on the market as far as a trigger goes for 80 bucks. They're just hard to beat. This optic is actually a hand-me-down optic. I'm just using it for the time being until I find a more permanent solution that I'm going to rock with. This is a 4X primary arms prism scope. I think this is their first or second generation. They do not make these anymore, in case anybody's wondering. But it works great. I think it's got it's got the ACSS reticle on it. It's calibrated for 5.56, so I'm not sure how well it'll work for Grendel, but I got it on an ADM quick detach mount. We got one of these KAC microsights back here. Other than that, we have the Strike Industries enhanced bolt catch and bolt release. Also works well for what it's supposed to do. Again, safety's ambi. We actually went with a Armaspec Victory charging handle. I'll see if I can get this on camera since I'm actually holding the gun. See how wide that bad boy is? That thing is wide. It's a nice size charging handle. That's what she said, right? But it's it's textured, serrated. It actually has, I'm gonna see if I can get it on camera. It's got kind of like a gasket right there, little black part. It's hard to see. It's got like a gasket. It's supposed to redirect gas venting downward away from the shooter's face. So theoretically, it's supposed to work well with suppressors and keep from shooters from getting hit in the face with too much gas, I guess. But yeah, it's actually a pretty wide charging handle option. Got really large latches. And to me, at least, it works great and it looks great, especially considering there's no forward assist there. So it's easy to grab this bad boy. We went with the PWS ratchet lock castle nut. This is actually the third or fourth time I've built with one of these. They work great. The other ones I've got have all been on 308s. And combined, those 308s probably have a few thousand rounds downrange, and they have never come loose. I've heard people shit talk these in the past, but long story short, as long as you torque it down properly, you'll never have a problem with it. As you can see, or maybe you can, maybe you can't, there's a little detent right there. Locks into place with these little ridges on the castle nut. Hopefully you can see those. So yeah, it should not come loose. So if you torque it down properly and, you Don't do any weird shit. I mean, should last forever, theoretically, right? QD socket right there. Another reason why I like them. Magpul Myad grip. This is actually a C Products Defense 26 round magazine, but I actually loaded it to 27, no problem. So for what it's worth. Oh, let's see, what else? What am I missing? Yeah, this is the SBA 4 tactical brace. Fits on a mil-spec tube. I actually like this brace. Got a few braced guns, and out of all the braces I've ever run, this is probably the best. Nice and wide. Got a lot of cheek weld on it. I mean, it works. It does what you ask for of it. Let's see. What else? Oh, let's see. Let me unload this. Yep, got rounds in there. But for the safety Nazis, chamber's empty. Weapon was always clear. We'll crack this thing open and see what we got in here. So, I'm not going to break it down. It's still a little tight. But anyway, that is not a regular buffer. That is the Armaspec SRS recoil assembly. Kind of like a JP silent captured recoil spring, but a little cheaper. Otherwise, it functions the exact same, works the exact same, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, pretty much every part on this gun I selected individually down to the detents and springs. Nothing was bought as a kit. Everything was purchased separately and hand-built by yours truly. Other than that, I have not shot it yet. I literally just finished putting everything together a couple hours ago. This is actually like a little hand-me-down sight that I just had laying around. I think this is like a UTG. Had it for a couple years. You know, just figured I'd rock it for now until I found something better. But hey, it's a front sight. It works. I don't know how well it'll hold up if it gets dropped on it, but I've never had that happen. At least not too badly, but hey, it's there for now. Yeah, other than that, I believe the overall length on this gun is a tad over 26 inches. It's like 27, so it's actually, you know, I could actually run a vertical foregrip on here if I wanted to, which I'm probably going to do. Throw a light on here eventually, and I guess find a permanent optic option that I'm going to go with, and I'll be completely done then. But till then, oh yeah, Magpul Myad grip. One of my faves. I can't think of anything else. I think that's it. But yeah, this is a pretty sweet build. I like it. Always wanted to have a little Grendel blaster. Nice little intro to the platform, I guess. But yeah, it's cool. I like it. I love FDE. All these colors are slightly different. So this, you know, the handguard's a little different. The upper and the lower, they're pretty close. It's hard to tell them apart. They're not quite spot on, but they're damn close. They're damn close. Dust cover, of course, is slightly different. But yeah, it looks great. I like it. Every single aspect of this build I like. I try to put as much thought in here as I could. And I think it turned out pretty well, you know. Anyway, I can't really think of much else to say. I mean, I guess if you guys want to know anything or got any questions, just feel free to ask. Peace.